I just wanted to thank you all for coming today, and this is a great turnout. I'd like to thank our speaker, Jody Strongborn, and she is from Topside. She will be talking about managing holiday stress. This is a great topic right now. You have a nice and healthy lunch, and I'll go ahead and turn this over to Jody. One last thing, please complete your evaluations. We do need feedback from you, and thank you so much. Judy.
Hi, I'm Jody Strongborn. You guys all hear me okay? I'm a pacer, so if you can't hear me, just throw your hand up in the air. This is the information you can stick on that evaluation, spelling my name and the date. So if we need to go back to it at the end, we can. But I'm with Cmte. I work as a private contractor for them. So a lot of these materials I'm familiar with, but I didn't create. So I may not speak directly about each topic on the PowerPoint or each thing in the handout, but I will try to touch base on most of the things. Basically, many people this time of year are feeling stressed in multiple different ways. Children tend to have more homework, we have more demands at work, things are coming to an end, these yearly reports, finances that we have to take care of. So millions of Americans are going through stress. Stress is just simply change. Change in our daily routine, change in our life. And that change just makes things not run as normal, and so we get a little bit heightened in stress. Basically, I'm very interactive, so I'd like to share a little bit about what you guys have experienced. We all look forward to certain things during the holiday. I know for me, I get really excited during that first snow where we actually get like a good accumulation. We take the family out in the yard and play for a little bit. I love the movies on TV this time of year. Sit down, watch a movie, and just really enjoy it with the family. Can somebody just throw out a couple other things that they enjoy doing during this time of year?
Baked cookies.
Baked cookies? Okay, yeah. A little stressful for me, but for you it's a positive thing. That's good. Any other ideas? Maybe one more? Decorating the house. Okay, great. And what's something we don't look forward to this year? The roads? Maybe this morning they were a little bit slippery for you guys? Those are a little bit stressful. Lots of different things. Maybe meeting with relatives. So we're going to go over them in detail and just look at some things we can do to modify what we're currently doing to make it less stressful this season. Our challenge for you guys is to look into your own lives while I talk and see how you can modify things for yourself. And on the handout there is a space for that. You don't have to do it today, but you can take it home and just kind of process what do I enjoy, what don't I enjoy, and what can I do to change that to make it a more successful experience. All right, so our emotions are a big roller coaster during this time of year. We go from being really excited and joyful about making those cookies to, oh no, I didn't make enough. And I have to get back to the store and get more butter, and there's a huge snowstorm outside and I don't know how to do it. So we have to kind of check with ourselves and see how we want a roller coaster to slow down. These are the 4 or the 5 things that I'm going to go over as we go forward. All right. So, on that emotional roller coaster, there are 2 specific things that I tend to see during this time of season from people. First one I call the holiday Band-Aid syndrome. You guys have probably all experienced it. We get together with our family 1, maybe 2 times a year, that extended family, and everybody wants to know what's new, what's been going on. And so we either simply cover it up by saying, not much, nothing's going on, or we tell people what's going on, and they say, oh, that must be tough. We don't really get to share or exchange what's going on in our lives and experience that with our family because we're moving through the motions so quickly. This causes a lot of stress for people. The second one is the ghost of holiday past. You guys can probably imagine what that is. We sit around the table and we talk about those relatives who are no longer with us. We talk about the Christmas from last year and how disastrous it was. Maybe we talk about that relative that everybody likes to talk about. It adds stress. Maybe on the drive over to our relative's house, we actually start experiencing that stress. Oh my gosh, they're going to ask me about my job search. I haven't found a new job. They're going to ask me about my kids in college. They failed out. All those things start adding as we head over towards our relative's house. So the expectations what we experience are like Norman Rockwell paintings. Have you seen those? They're very peaceful, nice blanket of snow, people in carriages smiling. That's what we expect our Christmas to look like. Guess what that does? Makes our stress go through the roof. We got to decorate the house, right? Didn't get enough tree ornaments on. Doesn't look quite right. Stress goes up. Not enough fresh baked cookies. Whatever the, don't have a good Christmas CD to play, or whatever that is. So those increase our pressure, increases our stress. Oftentimes, this falls on one person in the family. Not everybody's sharing mutually. So that person's on edge, which makes everybody on edge. Don't go around mom. She's getting ready for the guests to come over. Don't go near dad. He just got done shoveling the driveway and broke the shovel. So there's just a lot of stress throughout the whole household. At work, there's probably increased stress as well because we're taking more time off, so our demands are higher. We want to get things done. Yesterday I talked about procrastination, and a lot of times we kind of push those aside. I'll do it in the new year. But then when we come back in from the holiday, all this stuff's just laying there waiting for us. That increases our stress. Going home, we remember all that stuff laying on our desk. It's just waiting for me as I go back. So it kind of hangs with us throughout the holiday. Again, adds stress. Another really big stressor this time of year is money. We spend so much money this time of year with decorations, cookies, flying to relatives' house, hotels. They don't reduce their fees during the holiday. They actually jack them up because they know we're all coming. They're waiting for us. So our money demands are a lot higher. How much we spend on gifts, those kind of things. Our health is a really big neglect this time of year. I'm glad to see there was a healthy lunch. There's a lot of great options. But oftentimes that kind of gets pushed aside. We stop going to the gym, and we start eating more of those sweets and things that we see around the office and at home. And we just kind of get out of that routine where we're the healthiest routine we found for ourselves. So again, the health is really affected during this time of year. And I saw a police officer in here earlier, but I think he left. Safety is a big thing during this year. Our increased stress causes us to rush around more, causes us to forget about certain things, maybe drinking a little bit more than usual, those kind of things. There's a lot of break-ins this time of year. So all that safety stuff adds to stress. We try to start thinking about what we need to do to protect that. I noticed a lot of you looking at each other and smiling. I'm assuming many of these things you've experienced, and there's probably a few more that you're all thinking about. So there's lots of things going on, and I think the big thing you guys want to take today is, okay, great, yeah, we experienced all that, now what do we do? I want to tell you there's nothing you can do, but that's not true. I think you all have the choice to make a change. If you guys really reflect on what's going on and what stresses you out, you have an opportunity to change that. So, first thing we need to do is acknowledge these feelings. We need to put a voice to them and say them. I get stressed out when I go to my Aunt Kim's house because I don't like her dog. Okay, big stressor for me. So how am I going to deal with that? That's an example. It's not true about dogs. But I am going to give a really good example about dogs for this purpose. My neighbor's dog's Sparky, sweet little dog. But if I poke him with a stick, he's probably going to start growling at me. As if I keep poking him, maybe he'll even bark at me or bite me, right? So I do the same thing to Larry. He may bite me, he might yell at me, but what I hope he'll do is tell me he doesn't like it and walk away. Because he has the choice. He has the ability to make that choice. Just like each of you have the ability to identify your stressors and make a choice to change them. Make sense? Yeah. All right. So another thing we need to look at is things we enjoy. How can we add them into our schedule and make them more available to us? Those things get pushed aside quick and first. Oh, don't have time to sit down with the kids because I got to get this stuff done for Aunt's house, or I got to get that final present wrapped. So I push aside all those things I really enjoy. When if I just took 10 or 15 minutes to spend some time on the floor, messing around with the dog, playing with the kids, watching one of those movies, drinking a cup of coffee by myself, that can just enhance the overall experience, even like I said, if it's for 10 or 15 minutes. Emotions spur from positive and negative thoughts. So we can have positive thoughts that create positive emotions, or negative thoughts that cause negative emotions. These emotions, these thoughts, are the things we need to start identifying. Like I said earlier, I don't like going to my aunt's house, her dog stresses me out. Okay, those are my negative thoughts about going to my aunt's house. on my drive there, that's what my thoughts are. They're not on the great cake my uncle brings or the delicious food that we serve. They're on those negative things, those negative experiences. If I can switch that, then I can have a more positive experience. Just like Sparky, if only you could speak. We spend the majority of our time with our friends and family during this time of year. It's about togetherness. That's in general what we're all looking for at this time. And oftentimes we spend a lot of time with those relatives that we really don't want to see this time of year. So we need to evaluate how much time we want to spend with those people that bring us down. It's great to get together with family, but if you know your stress increases after the gifts are open, or you know your stress increases and they start sitting around the dinner table talking, there's no reason your family can't leave early. There's no reason your family can't pick and choose when they arrive to your relative's house. It's a great way to just filter that emotional experience. All right. So another really good thing is identifying our priorities. Okay, we talked about Norman Rockwell's painting earlier. Maybe it's not my priority to have Christmas tree lights on the outside of my house. Maybe it's just how I felt I should do it. So if we can reduce our priorities, or if we can identify our priorities and reduce what our expectations are, we can have a more balanced experience. My favorite example of this is of a family member who always made grandma's lasagna. Every year she got the recipe out, she fought really hard to make it perfect, just like grandma. It increased her stress because if she burned it, if she didn't do it quite right, everybody would judge her, everybody would notice. Well, one year, everybody was sitting in the living room and she was putting the final touches together for her lasagna. There was a big crash in the kitchen. And so her sister came running in. She said, oh my gosh, what's going on? Everything okay? She said, yeah, I just dropped that bag. Well, her sister picks up the bag and looks inside, and it's broken bottles of ragu sauce. She's like, what are you doing? This isn't grandma's recipe. She had identified years before that it's just too much stress to make a homemade sauce. So what she did is she substituted ragu. She told her sister, I've been doing this for 5 years. Nobody's noticed. Right? Now I get to spend more time with the family. So those little things, those little expectations, I do the same thing with pie crust. Oh, I gotta make my own pie crust. Well, Pillsbury does a really good job with those pre-made pie crust. So really check for yourself. You might love making cookies, but maybe it's okay to use store-bought icing. Trying to figure out what those things are for ourselves. Delegating is a really good thing we can do. I'm not the best cleaner in the world. I've got attention deficit issues, so I bounce from one room to the next, finding lots of fun things to do. But my husband's awesome at it, and he loves to be asked to do things. So instead of taking that responsibility on myself, sometimes delegating to him is a positive experience. One really good example of that is this business executive that came in for counseling, and he had a really great business. He ran it like clockwork. He was awesome. But you walk into his house, and it was a mess. His utilities got shut off constantly. There was food piled in the trash can that he wouldn't take out. He didn't do a good job managing his household, so he had to delegate. He found ways to do it by hiring a cleaner, ordering the pre-made meals, so that he didn't have to do as much work. He was much more relaxed and much more able to handle his life. The other big thing is not to hold these things in. I think a lot of times we put on the show, like I said, Norman Rockwell, right? Gotta make it perfect, gotta make it look good. So I'm running around doing all the things while my husband's watching football, my kids are on their Xbox, and I'm a mess. But nobody knows, because I look like I got it together. So that's what I'm supposed to do. So if I just take a minute and I talk to them about it, maybe I can get them more involved or engaged, or at least get it off my chest. I don't know if you guys watch Lifetime, but there's a movie on there, and the mom goes on strike for the holidays. Yeah, some of you have seen it. She held it in for all these years, and finally she just couldn't do it anymore. So she didn't decorate the house, she didn't do the cooking, she made the husband and her kids follow through. It's a cheesy movie, but it makes a really good point. I think we hold that on our shoulders, and maybe just a mention here and there could encourage people to get involved. Kids aren't probably going to be like, yeah, I'd love to help you clean the bathroom, but if you do that first, then you can have one of these cookies I'm in the kitchen making. Maybe you can get their buy-in that way. So delegating is a really good thing. And I think knowing your limits is important. That mom clearly, in that movie, clearly had way too much on her plate. She didn't have her limits noticed. So if you notice them, you put words to them and say, this is as much as I can do, it really helps us take a change. being flexible, I think, is just kind of not being expected to follow that strict routine. And then, again, I already spoke about knowing your limits. All right, the money tree. How do you guys celebrate? You guys give gifts? Do you go out to dinner a lot? Do things like that? Yeah, a lot of shaking? Okay. So do you have a budget? Do you know how much you're going to spend? Yeah, most of us don't. We go to the store and we got our list. And we just start throwing things in the cart. I saw someone at Best Buy on Monday. Her cart was full. I thought, and she had her iPhone out and she was calculating the cost of everything. You could just see her going. I thought, she has got to be under a lot of stress. You know, a budget's a great thing. I'm going to spend $300 on my entire family for Christmas. And I'm going to stick to it. I'm not going to go over it. I don't care what they ask for. That's all I can spend. Now, sticking to it's the tough part, because when I go into the mall and there's a big sign, 50% off, buy one, get one half off, I'm like, oh, well, this is a good deal. Oh, I better not pass this up. I know I already spent my $300, but what's one more thing? And then again, you go down the road, what's one more thing? So we really have to stick with it and not sway just because of those sale prices. That's all in. And again, I talked about grandma, know your limits. There was this grandma who went on retirement, so she couldn't afford all those fancy gifts for her family every year anymore. You know, she used to love to spend $100 on Easter eggs. She knew she couldn't do it anymore. So what she did, she went to the dollar store and she bought 5 items. And she went to the bank and got 100 pennies. She divvied them out between her 5 grandkids. And she made them bid against the gifts. And what she would do is she'd pull out an item, it's wrapped up, she'd tell a story about it. And then she'd ask the kids to bid on it. You know, maybe she'd pull out a coaster, it was wrapped, and you didn't know it was a coaster, but she'd say, this is something really important, it protects things from damage, and she'd tell this beautiful story, the kids would bid on it, and then they would open it up and find out what the item is. You know, it cost her $5. These kids loved it. They loved bidding on the items and going back and forth. I don't know if she got the pennies afterwards, or she let them keep those too. But again, it's just a really creative way to reduce the amount of money we spend. So avoid competing with others is pretty self-explanatory, right? Just because the neighbors have those Christmas tree lights up doesn't mean that we need to have them this year. Just because grandma gave an Xbox doesn't mean this grandma needs to give 2 Xboxes, you know, whatever that is. And like non-materialistic gifts, kind of like grandma's story, or letters. You can give your letters to your different friends and families, and I appreciate it about you. Just experience that with them instead of, this is a beautiful glass vase. All right, so the health. And I heard there's some people from the health department here. So I'm not the healthiest example in the world. Christmas stress really makes me eat, and that's bad. It really is a bad coping skill. It works, but we get addicted and we can't stop. But we want to maintain the best diet we can this time of year. So if we know we're going to your uncle's house on Friday and you know you're going to overeat, how can you balance that throughout the week so that at the end of the week you're not feeling very sad and depressed about what you've done to yourself? Or before you go there, set that intention. How much can I put on my plate that will satisfy me and won't overdo it? If I want to try everything on the buffet line, I can only have like this much. I'm sure you guys have all experienced that. You go, oh, this looks good, this looks good. Holy cow, I'm not going to be able to eat all this. The other thing is if something is good, we want to eat a lot of it. The first couple bites are awesome, but the more we eat, the less it tastes good because our body's got what it needed. It doesn't need anymore. We want to pay attention to that and slow down. Exercise a minimum of 120 minutes per week. It's not a lot if you break it down, but for most of us, we probably don't exercise on a daily basis, maybe on a weekly basis. I try to get it in once a week. That's not always going to happen in my life, but if we are exercising daily, this is also a time of year where we go to a hotel and we don't use that great hotel exercise facility that we made sure they had before we left home. We don't go, even though we check the holiday hours at the gym, because it's much more fun to stay home. And when we're home, guess what we're doing? We're snacking, we're wandering around looking for those delicious treats around the house. So if you can stick to some sort of schedule of exercise, even if you're doing 10 or 15 minutes a day, your body feels better, you have more energy. I know it's really hard to get to the gym, but after you've done it, you've all experienced that high you get. Oh my gosh, I feel so much better, the energy's up, and I don't feel guilty for eating that lunch, this big lunch you guys have. It's not a guilty feeling if you add that cookie at the end. So just some things you can do with your diet. Drinking responsibly. I think this is the time of year where there's a lot of different options available for drinking. And I'm talking mostly about alcohol, but I think hot cocoa, special Starbucks, what's the Starbucks gingerbread latte, those have like 600 calories in them. A couple of those a day, and you could find yourself not doing so well. And the caffeine in general isn't the best for us either, especially under stress. 1 cup in the morning, not a big deal. 4 cups all day really changes how we can experience. So with regard to the alcohol, 1 drink is fair. We don't want to jump in the car after we've experienced all that great eggnog that Uncle Tom makes. We want to make sure we're checking ourselves and making sure we're safe. And then one other thing on that, I think the buffet style serving for most families is the best because once we sit down with our plate, we pretty much stay there. We don't get back up. When the food's right in the middle of the table, can you pass me this, can I have this, or it's coming around the table, we tend to overdo it. We tend to fill it up more. So having a buffet style is good. And then keeping the food separate from the dessert is also good. Because once I fill up on the food, I'm less likely to try every single dessert that's sitting there. More likely to take it home or just choose one thing. That's another important thing. Safety, this is pretty self-explanatory. We're all adults. We can make good decisions. We don't want to overdo it. Our driveways need plowed. Maybe most of us have shovels. Maybe our husbands do it for us. Maybe we're the strong one of the family. But we can't overdo ourselves out in there. Pull out a back muscle, hurt your shoulder, things like that. So just notice what you feel when you're using those activities. Don't run around. We're trying to rush from one thing to another. We're in a hurry. Slipping and falling is pretty high this time of year just because of the conditions of the road. Crowds are bigger, so there's a lot of bumping around. Just being aware of where we're putting our feet and being safe. Again, allowing extra time. If you know the roads are going to be bad, don't try to get there in a half hour when you know it takes a half hour. Try to leave a little bit early, give yourself some extra time. Prepare yourself. There's things that are going to happen. Hopefully your vehicle won't break down, but do you have your ice scraper in your car? Do you have your cell phone charged up just in case something happens? Is your gas tank full? Mine is never full. But boy, if I fell off the side of the road in my car, I sure would want to keep it heated right now because it would be very cold. So just preparing for the potential issues that can come up. Fire hazards, that's about, watering your tree, keeping those lights new and fresh, making sure you're not putting the black electrical tape on those lights to make them last 1 more year, unplugging them if you're not going to be home, putting them on a timer, those kind of things. Lighting candles is a big, big hazard. You light them, you fall asleep, you forget about them, the dog knocks them over, and then, that Christmas is ruined. So just trying to be safe is really important. I think slowing down is probably your best bet on that one, as you guys know. Okay, so giving back makes us all feel better. Something you can do. Helping somebody dig their driveway out, helping somebody provide a meal for their family, donating some unused items, just taking a few minutes to provide that kind of support for someone during this time of year increases our feeling of well-being, reduces our stress. So even if it's just mentally and you're wishing somebody well, you're thinking about them, making a list of people you want to contact, all those positive thoughts that come from that increase our ability to deal with stress, changes the chemicals in our brain. So I think that's a really good thing to do. All right, avoiding holiday blues. So we've all experienced it. Everything's exciting and it's fun, but there's some things that drag us down. We get together with our family, the sports lovers go in the living room, the kitchen dwellers go in the kitchen, the kids are running all over the house. We're not together. We're all running around doing our own thing. Oftentimes we fill up our plate, the guys go in this room, the girls go in this room, the kids are at the kids' table. We're all spread out. So creating a moment to all come together and share in the holiday. Maybe do a toast, maybe share stories, play a silly game with the family. Again, I'm using this 10 or 15 minutes thing, but 10 or 15 minutes makes a big difference. So if we can just find ways to start new traditions and have the family participate, it's really a positive thing. I mentioned talking to people and asking for their help. People love being asked for help. So just extending that to someone can increase their feeling over the holiday season and take a little bit off your back. Taking care of yourself, we've talked about, healthful management of exercise, sleep, and stress. Do something for others, we talked about, and talking things out. If you're really struggling with I don't know, the expectations you have on yourself this holiday season. Instead of keeping it all on yourself, call a friend. This is what I'm struggling with. This is what I can't figure out how to change in my life. And talk it out with them. Sit down with your spouse and say, I don't know how I'm going to do all of this. I don't know how I'm going to be able to handle it. Call your mom and say, Mom, how'd you do this for all these years? Really talk it through and identify some solutions that are already out there. It can really make it a lot easier. So I'm just curious of things that you guys are doing, because I think the best thing we can do is learn from each other. Are there any things that anybody in this room has already tried to reduce their stress during this time of year? Any thoughts? I know you guys are all pretty stressed out. Okay. So what are some things that stress you right now? Name them. Shopping. Okay. I have a couple more and then we'll talk about them. Just shopping?
Not enough time to do everything.
Time and shopping. Okay, great. One more. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just was in a house this weekend and I'm hosting Christmas on this place.
Oh, awesome. So we've got a lot of stuff to put away and pull out.
Christmas decorations.
Yeah. Okay, so
I
shopping.
got it in my shopping.
Okay. Oh, okay. So the three of you need to get down. So shopping, not enough time, and my house is new and I'm not ready. All right. So let's start with shopping. Okay, we've got our list. I got to buy gifts for all these people. Maybe they've handed in there, this is what I want for Christmas. You got to go out to the store. Maybe you got to go to Toys R Us, Target, Best Buy, Starbucks, all those different places. How do you guys think you could work that schedule to make it a little bit easier? Gift card, I love that. Yeah, instead of buying a specific item, oh my gosh, did you want this in blue or red? Or does he want level 1 or level 2? Get a gift card so they can go in. They're probably already getting it from somebody else anyway. So then it offers them the ability to go out after the holiday. I like that idea. Yeah. Because I think you can buy gift cards from multiple places at like Giant Eagle, Meijer, places like that. Another good thing is if you do need to do it and it's super stressful, just do it all in one day. Don't say, okay, on Friday I'm going to go out and get all this done. And then when you don't get it all done in the afternoon on Friday, I'm not going to have any time to do this. So try to spread it out, break it up. See how you can do Tiger on the way home from work on Monday, Best Buy on Thursday night, and don't go on Black Friday. Don't go on the night before Christmas. Because guess what, guys? Everybody else is doing that too. So you want to try to plan it down around the slow times. Maybe during, out here in Marysville, there's probably pretty far drive to get to the stores. So maybe on your lunch hour or again on the way home, take an extra 5 or 10 minutes to run to the store. It's a good thing. So time. Time's tough, isn't it? It's like, where did all the time go? Today we're supposed to have all this stuff done. But I think one of the things I find myself doing when I say, well, there wasn't enough time to do this today, is, well, actually I took 20 minutes extra at lunch. I decided to go do something for myself. I found myself bouncing from one activity to the other just so I didn't have to deal with the laundry any longer. And I find that my time management really is a reflection of my inability to focus. So I have to go down the list and see what I've done to fill in those moments that maybe if I had spent 10 more time or 10 more minutes on those Christmas cards, it would have gone out on time. So I think that's one good solution. What other things have you guys tried to manage your time better?
Make a list.
Make a list. Yeah. My favorite list, and I share this almost all the time, but I think it's really helpful, is a 3-part list. Must do, have plenty of time to do, and this really doesn't ever have to get done. And then I focus on this side. I'd rather focus on this side because it's fun stuff like, oh, I've got to make sure I clean out the closet, or I've got to make sure that I didn't send all those emails out. But if you can focus more on this side, at the end of the day, you're going to feel like you've accomplished a lot more than if you're working off the other 2 lists. So that's a really good way to just start breaking down your to-do list and looking at what really needs to get done and what do I want to do. I think that's a great idea. All right, this house. This house is a mess. Pretty stressful, right? You got more than one room in the house? Yeah. So do you have to unpack all the boxes, or can you secretly stash them places? The bedroom what?
The bedrooms all have to be decorated.
Yeah, you can close that door. Put a nice Christmas bow on it. It is hard though, and it looks like a very overwhelming task. One really simple tip is to break our task down. Instead of saying, I need to put away all the boxes tonight and put up all the Christmas tree decorations tomorrow, I can say, tonight I'm going to do one box, and then I'm going to be good with that. Or tonight I'm going to spend 30 minutes attempting to accomplish this. And then at the end of the week, if it's still a mess, hey, I spent 30 minutes every night, and this is as far as I got. At least I tried. It's helpful. It is. Try it. Try and break it down to see what you can take on each night. What other ideas do you guys have for helping this lady with her unpacking and holiday decorating?
Make it as simple as possible. Paper plates, plastic silverware, everybody should understand.
Right.
Let the family help decorate your tree when they get there, have them bring food, you don't seem to be responsible for all of it. Yeah,
Those expectations that we put on ourselves.
then she'll enjoy it.
Yeah, because the fun part when the cooking is that my husband cooks. Okay, I don't, and he is always full of stuff. It drives me nuts, and then it spills over on me. He never has a good time when we have people over. He's doing that. Oh, we gotta get the silver polished, and we gotta make sure that this isn't overcooked, and you know, people are gonna be here in 10 minutes, and I'm like, who cares? Order a pizza. Really, everybody's coming to be together. They're not coming to eat the best meal there is. They're not coming to, well, some people are only coming for grandma's pies or something like that. But in general, reducing those are overall less on you. I think that's a really good tip. Any other ideas for these three people who shared their big stressors? No? All right.
We shop online.
Shop online.
We do all our shopping online. I don't go out to the crowds. It saves time. It saves money.
And it's fun because they come to your house.
Yeah,
You get to
and
go through them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
And then I
that's
just collect them all in boxes in a big pile, and then sit down and wrap them all like all at once.
uh-huh.
That's it. I didn't have to do.
You have to do much. Click on the internet, credit card number, and I think that's a great shop online. I think the guy back there said the same thing. Yeah, and I think wrapping gifts is fun. You get to think about each person you're giving the gift to as you wrap it. You get to choose the wrapping paper. Maybe you're a little creative and you put a bow on it. It's a very relaxing experience. Or you just get it done really quick. But that's definitely a good idea. Put everything in bags. Oh, gift bags. Yeah, those are a huge time saver. Drop them in, tissue paper on top, done. That's great. Any other tips from you guys that you can share with everybody in the room that you found helpful? No? All right. So the big thing I want to mention is sometimes stress is more than just, my family stresses me out this time of year. A little bit of stress is good. Optimal stress is when we're doing things we enjoy. A hobby. You know, maybe I enjoy sewing. Don't, but maybe I do. And sewing's just really stressful. Everything has to line up and oh no. So, but maybe I do enjoy it. There's a bit of a challenge with it that increases my stress level. But what I do know is fun and it decreases. There's an optimal balance of stress with an activity like that. Baking cookies. You know, some people really enjoy the process of mixing things together, but did I put everything in? Small amount of stress that comes up with that. But if I can have a good balance of, I know what I'm doing in this round, I enjoy icing the cookies, it's a little stressful to bake them. It really is the optimal amount we want. However, for some people, the stress continues beyond just that optimal level. It increases way too much to where we're not functioning. Maybe we're increasing our drinking, our eating. We don't get a lot of sleep. That's when we really need to say, is this something I can manage or is this something I need to seek support for? You guys all have an EAP service. I think it's Cmte for everybody in this room. Cmte's a really good resource because it offers free services, certain amount of free services for legal, counseling, financial planning, things like that, where you can use this service for a brief period of time just to get you back on your feet again. So if that stress just isn't going away, and some of these simple tips we've offered today isn't enough, maybe it's time to say, this is bigger than just the holidays. This is something going on internally. Some of those thoughts just can't stop. This is a great resource to use to get that help that you might need. All right, so I know you guys all came to the drawing. I'm that's about to happen as soon as Karen comes back in. She has some free things to give away. I just asked that you guys complete those surveys so that I can send them back in. And again, I can go back to that first slide with my name on it. It's long. If you guys could fill those out, that would be